From creepy creatures to a man trapped underwater, here are some of the most terrifying things found in the sea. Alien statue. Here is something you don't want to run into while diving in the ocean. Imagine yourself floating gently through the murky depths on your first diving mission and coming across an alien stuck at the bottom of the water like some kind of horrifying fossil. Well, off the coast of Russia, there is a steampunk xenomorph statue and nobody quite knows where it came from. No artist ever came forward to claim it, and to this day, it is a complete mystery. The alien, or xenomorph as they are known as in the popular franchise, is built in the steampunk fashion with gears and bolts and other metal objects, all of which have taken on a particularly nasty rust from being underwater for so long. Of course, this is not the only steampunk memorabilia around, as there is everything from the infamous Predator made from nuts and bolts to massive Godzillas made from the same. The only difference here is somebody decided to dump their creation into the ocean for unsuspecting divers to stumble upon in dismay. But you know what they say, in the ocean, no one can hear you scream. Human hand. Here is a freaky one for you. This was not something found in the ocean exactly, but more of something found inside of a shark's belly, and obviously sharks live in the ocean. The terrifying object found inside of a shark in 2019 was a severed human hand, complete with a wedding ring. The shark had been killed because it had already been deemed a threat. In the autopsy, they found that inside of the massive 10-foot, 3-meter tiger shark was a man's hand. This immediately raised an alarm because in the same area of Saint-Gilles, a 44-year-old Scottish tourist had been reported missing after going for a swim by himself. According to Metro News, the unnamed man and his wife had been spending a week on vacation on the island of Reunion, and after the man failed to return from his swim, his wife had sent for help. However, even after divers searched the sea, there was absolutely no sign of the man, other than the hand pulled from the shark. Definitely, it was a shocking autopsy. The last thing I would want on a nice relaxing vacation is to have an unpleasant encounter with a tiger shark. And now for number 8, but first, what is the thing that scares you the most about the sea? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you are new here. Anaconda. This one did not happen in the sea, but it did happen in the Formosa River in Brazil, which is basically the Amazonian Sea. In any case, when Bartolomeo Bove and his diving partner strapped on their gear and went for a dive in the river with their equipment, Bartolomeo was quick to run into a giant green anaconda, 23 feet, 7 meters in length, and weighing almost 200 pounds, which is 91 kilograms, simply lounging in the water like you or I would lounge in the tub. Rather than run away screaming like I definitely would have, Bartolomeo decided to shove his underwater camera in the giant snake's face. This kind of discovery would have terrified anyone, but it did not faze the diver at all. And it didn't seem to faze the anaconda either, who slithered off through the water like a massive eel completely at ease. The snake gave the camera a quick lick, apparently a little curious, and then went about its business, which shows that these animals are not the aggressive and dangerous things everyone has believed them to be. I don't know how the cameraman could have stayed so calm, because I am terrified right now just thinking about being underwater with a giant snake. Have you ever found a scary animal while you were swimming? Blackbeards Vessel. Blackbeard was arguably the most infamous pirate in the history of pirates, and for a long time, Blackbeard's famous ship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was lost beneath the waves, but it was found in 1996. I can't imagine a more terrifying shipwreck to discover on the bottom of the ocean. The Queen Anne's Revenge began her life as a slaving vessel for the French before Blackbeard got a hold of it and terrorized the Caribbean. The ship was equipped with up to 40 guns, a whole team of bloodthirsty pirates, and a multitude of other weapons. This boat will continue to be the most fear-inspiring vessel for the rest of history. The wreck was found in 1996 in Palm Bay, Florida, and in 1998, the state made an agreement that gave Intersil Inc. rights to make copyrighted photos and videos of it. Florida and North Carolina began excavating the wreck, and in 2011, North Carolina state authorities confirmed that the shipwreck was undoubtedly the Queen Anne's Revenge. In the wreck, they found apothecary weights stamped with little fleur de lis royal French symbols, a small amount of gold, many weapons, and a bell engraved with the date 1705. What a great treasure. In 2015, the state of North Carolina passed a law where all images related to the Queen Anne's Revenge excavation were instantly property of the state and public records without copyright protection. Interestingly enough, Blackbeard died on a different ship on November 22, 1718, and was killed in action. Blackbeard's reign of terror was finally over as he was filled with 5 gunshots and impaled at least 20 times by both swords and knives. What a miserable end to a miserable person, and an interesting legacy left at the bottom of the ocean for hundreds of years. World War II remains. This is a truly grisly sight to behold. After the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor during World War II, America targeted a Japanese military base at Chuuk Lagoon in Micronesia. The attack was carried out by 500 aircrafts and additional submarines, and even though the Japanese took most of their larger ships from the area beforehand, the USA managed to sink 47 boats, 270 aircraft, and 1,700 Japanese servicemen. Today, the terrifying remnants of that battle can be found rotting away at the bottom of the lagoon. In fact, this is the world's largest ship graveyard. Boats can be seen riddled with torpedo holes, while other paraphernalia is scattered across the lagoon's floor. A dive below the surface of the water will yield terrifying images of gas masks, unopened beer bottles, and even rotting shoes. This horrible underwater museum is a brutal reminder of our not-so-distant past. The only good thing about all of this twisted metal at the bottom of the sea is that it has attracted lots of great marine life. There are now turtles, sharks, and manta rays that continuously visit the rusted and deteriorated ships. However, 3 of the sunken tankers are estimated to contain about 32,000 tons of oil. It is only a matter of time until all of that oil spills out and causes even more damage. Neptune Memorial Reef. I have mixed feelings about Neptune Memorial Reef. Just 3 miles, 5 kilometers off the coast of Miami Beach and roughly 40 feet, 12 meters beneath the waves, Neptune Memorial Reef is both terrifying and shockingly beautiful. This is a graveyard. That's right, a literal underwater graveyard. The entire memorial was inspired by the lost city of Atlantis. It has sunken columns, lion statues, roadways, and it looks very much like a lost city. This is a place full of marine life, interesting imagery, and the graves of the deceased. If you want to visit it, you have to go to the authorized shops in Miami and ask for a tour. They are going to accept divers and snorkelers that want to visit this place. Even if you are a novice, a professional diver, or if you are looking to get certified, they can bring you all the information about the plans they have. While Neptune Memorial Reef can certainly appear terrifying, it is still a very popular scuba site and snorkeling site. It is also home to many graves. You are able to purchase a special headstone which incorporates a person's ashes into a cement mold of something marine themed. And so, if you were diving and came upon this underwater graveyard, I bet you would think it was terrifying with all the headstones and themed graves. The first thing that comes to mind are underwater zombies, even if there are no actual bodies. Say what you will, but it is a ghoulish thing to see a sunken graveyard. Serene, beautiful, and oddly unnerving. Christ of the Abyss. Off the coast of Italy is arguably the most religious underwater monument ever placed into the ocean. It is also a terrible thing to find when diving in that area, as it looks more like a menacing ocean god beckoning you to Davy Jones' locker than the King of Heaven. This bronze statue was made by Guido Galletti. In August 1954, it was placed upon the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea as an honor to Dario Gonzatti, the first Italian to use scuba diving gear. Placed 56 feet, 17 meters under the waves, where it stays to this day. This divine statue may have begun life looking majestic and powerful, but years of sitting at the bottom of the sea has turned it into a terrifying piece that looks nothing like Jesus Christ anymore. It looks like a bronze Poseidon welcoming you to a watery grave. The statue is burdened by some kind of marine growth that has made the face of Jesus appear mutated and covered in some kind of biological slime. Basking Shark. Definitely one of the most terrifying things found in the sea is Basking Shark. But not just the basking shark, I'm talking about the basking shark with its mouth wide open. This is the second largest fish in the world, and it is a filter feeder. When the basking shark decides to eat, it opens its massive mouth and basically inhales whatever tiny little morsels of plankton gets in the way. But its open mouth looks more like a cave than anything else. Staring into the basking shark's gaping jaw is like staring into the gates of hell. Basking sharks reach lengths of 6 feet, 2 meters when babies, and commonly up to 40 feet, 12 meters at adulthood. They usually live in the equatorial zone, being commonly solitary creatures, but sometimes can form large groups of more than 100 individuals. These creatures live for about 50 years, and the females have a gestation period of at least 3 years. The basking shark is much more terrifying than a great white, an octopus, or a squid. But what makes it even more terrifying is that the basking shark spends most of its time very close to the surface of the water, swimming with its ridiculously large mouth completely open so that it can suck in food. This is undoubtedly one of the most terrifying things you could happen upon while swimming in the ocean. Have you ever swam with sharks? How was that experience? Let me know in the comments below. Sunken crosses of Malpeque. Here is something you don't see every day, an underwater graveyard commemorating a group of martyred missionaries from the 16th century. Yes, this is the second graveyard on the list, but honestly, is anything more terrifying to discover under the sea, other than perhaps a 40-foot shark or a real-life kraken, than weathered crosses scattered over the seabed? The location is in La Palma, Spain. The exact distance is 65 feet, 20 meters underneath the ocean. The story is more than 400 years old, from 1570 to be precise. At that time, the Canary Islands had been under the control of the Spanish. The islands were also extremely vulnerable to pirates, and so when a Portuguese missionary by the name of Ignacio de Acevedo and his group of 39 Jesuit companions were in the area, their vessel was bombarded by French pirates led by Jacques de Soris, who wanted the ship and all the cargo. Of course, he didn't want the 40 men aboard the ship, so he decided to torture them and threw them into the sea, while watching how they slowly drowned and sunk to the bottom of the sea. Then, hundreds of years later in 1742, the men were declared martyrs. Still, it was not until the year 2000 that 40 crosses were dropped into the sea at the location as a memorial to the murdered missionaries. This is such a compelling story that it continues through the ages. In 2014, a big stone cross was erected at a nearby lighthouse with all of their names inscribed onto it. And while the crosses are in no way malicious, it is still a terrifying thing to stumble upon at the bottom of the sea. Man in a boat. This has got to be one of the most terrifying discoveries in recent years. It all started in 2013 when a tugboat was toppled by a swell off the coast of Nigeria and sunk. While 11 people died on that tugboat, one man named Okin managed to survive inside of a small 4-foot, 1.2 meter pocket of air. He survived there for 3 full days by drinking small sips of Coca-Cola. In a report from USA Today, it is detailed that a team of South African divers on their way to investigate the capsized tugboat were absolutely shocked to find the man sitting nonchalantly in an air bubble 30 meters beneath the surface of the Atlantic Ocean. This is an incredible and terrifying story. The divers were able to rescue Okin by putting him in a harness, giving him an oxygen mask, and then swiftly taking him into a decompression chamber. The man was then held inside of the decompression chamber for 60 hours so that his body pressure was able to return to normal. At the end of the day, the man was saved. This incredible event will undoubtedly be with him forever. Thanks for watching. Which of these crazy things would you definitely not want to discover while in the water? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up for more. See you next time.